there's three sort of common threads that people can think about. Number one is, what do you want to see in terms of your bank balance? So in terms of the savings that you have. Number two is, what do you want to see with the debt? Number three is, what do you want to see with the assets that you have, whether that's investments, a jet ski, whatever else. Of any of those three pillars, is anything like that sort of stand out?
I still have some university debt, and I still have some debt to my parents.
Yeah.
So the university debt's around 20,000.
Yeah.
And my debt to my parents is about 10.
Okay.
1,000.
What's something that sort of stands out for you as a goal that you want to achieve?
So I think 5 years down the track, I probably want like 150k savings.
Okay, so that ends up being, let's say, 180k that we've got to find in the next 5 years. So what's that math end up being per year, Jace? Something like 35, something like that.
About 35 and some change.
Yeah. Okay, so how have you got your bank account structured? Where does your income go when it comes in?
Cool. So I have a freelance app that I called Henry.
Yep.
They manage my finances.
Yep,
so
yep,
I receive income through there. 20% of it into my NAB, personal spending, and then 25% goes into my CommBank for my savings for this master's next year.
Yeah.
In my NAB, I've got two accounts. I subtract 600 always into the second NAB account, and I just leave that just for my rent. My other one is what I've got to play. I'm trying to only have between 150 to 250 in that spending.
Yep. So what I would do is, the structure that we normally recommend to clients is have at least one account called the fun account. You can call it whatever you want, but we call it the fun account. And you can just blow that on whatever you want, right?
Yep.
That amount is guilt-free, whatever. It can just go. So if you want to bacon and eggs, you want to buy a watch, you want to do whatever, you can spend it from that account.
That would be my NAB everyday spending account.
Sweet, sweet.
Yep.
So then what we need to do is every other dollar that's coming in, we need to assign a job to that and a specific purpose from it. And I think what we've got to do is probably off air do like a more detailed master plan for you, what we call a master plan.
Yeah.
Because from what you're saying with 150 or 250, it's like this or that, or it's like, let's get a specific amount specifically
each week
for that.
to play with.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So your fun account's there, you can expand and contract in that as much as you want.
Right.
Why I love having a fun account is I've got one and I use it with my family, and it almost creates like a little game to see how far you can make the money go. Before I set it up, we would be smashing, 20 beers at the pub, then get home and you want to Uber Eats a kebab or something like that, which costs $45 for a kebab and chips or something because they've delivered it to you, plus tip, plus service fee, plus everything else. And then it just runs away forever. Now, let's just say we put $100 a week in the fun account. It's a game to think about how far we can get that to expand.
Yeah.
And how much we can get out of that. I went the other night on Sunday. I think there was like $50 left in the fun account. And I said to my wife, I want to go out for dinner. She goes, well, where are we going to go for $50? And I found a place that was just local in the area. They do kids eat free on a Sunday. So we actually went, had two main meals. The kids ate free and it had two schooners for $50.
Wow.
That wouldn't have even come to my mind. I wouldn't have even looked at that before.
Yeah.
It would have just ran away. So that would be my first suggestion to you would be, let's set up a fun account. The second one would be, let's do a master plan with you to reverse engineer that 180K number. And considering that most likely your income's going to increase over time, we can step that up over time. So the first 6 months might be this amount, and then the next 6 months might be that amount. But we'll work on percentages so that as those amounts increase, if you get some extra, you can still put it aside to pay that off.
Okay, cool. With the fun account there, should I have a specific number that I have each week?
Yes.
So like $250.
Yep.
And that's
we'll work the number out.
Right. And this is separate to the account that I pay my groceries with?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Right.
That's right.
How we kind of calculate those numbers is part of the master plan, which is a more detailed session that we go through with you, as Gav mentioned, and a lot of it is reverse engineering.
Okay.
So we always start from what your main goals are, and for you particularly, for the bigger goals in mind, is paying off your uni debt, paying off your parents, and then having $150,000 saved up in the bank post that. So if you reverse engineer that, we worked it out, it's about $35K a year for 5 years. That works out to be about $800 to $900 every week that you have to have in surplus to be able to hit your goals for 5 years straight.
Right.
So then naturally, to reverse engineer that, we go from your income, we minus $900, which is your goal, put that aside. What's left is for you to live your life every day. Right? And then we kind of give you realistic numbers of, if you were to do that, this is how you'd have to live in a specific way.
And just going back to that point of, is it separate from your groceries? I think a really important thing to keep in mind is that there's discretionary spending and there's non-discretionary spending. And what I mean by that is your rent, doesn't matter how you're feeling in that week, it's going to cost you that same amount of money. Yes, you could get a smaller place or a bigger place or whatever, but that's going to be $600 regardless of what happens. If it's Christmas time and you have all of these Christmas parties back to back that you're going out to and you need to get on the piss and whatever, that discretionary amount, that fun amount is going to go up and down, and that is really where we want to put the lid on it. Your groceries probably aren't going to change all that much. That's probably a non-discretionary thing, but you need a cap and a limit on it. Otherwise, it's not going to force you to find the deals that you need to.
Right.
So definitely the fun account would be to the side. Its only purpose is
like
for you
my
to have fun
Revolut.
with.
Chuck, I have that
Exactly.
on my Revolut. My Revolut is my fun card.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a predetermined amount from it.
Yeah, that's good.
So then that expansion and contraction happens, but only inside that account.
Cool.
And the example that I gave before of, where we've got $50 left and my family managed to make that happen, there's weeks when we don't spend all of the fun account money because we know that something's coming up. And so if I want to go to a concert or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, I've got to stay at home the next few weekends, or I can't hit it really hard on the grog beforehand because I've got a concert coming up or I'm going to the UFC or whatever,
Yeah. Yep.
I think our session, sorry, Gav, to interrupt, but like what he kind of Gav mentioned earlier and what yourself, Ned, you mentioned earlier, is that when we asked you the question of how much do you kind of have aside for fun and things like that, you said 150 to 250. It's very vague numbers. I guess the purpose of our sessions for our clients post-call is they know a number very specific to that amount, where they can kind of keep an eye on. It doesn't change nothing necessarily about their lifestyle, but having that purpose in the back of your head going, it's not 150 to 250 anymore, it's now 150. This is the exact
And you've got to
number.
beat it every week. That's your goal, right? You're trying to think about how can I extract the most amount of fun out of that $150.
Not rich,